Hello, and welcome to the Salty Vapor. I am Chris Jordan. I am broadcasting here from Richmond, Indiana, in the heart of these United States of America. This is my first video. I'm excited to get started and join the YouTube vaping community here. As it is my first video, I'm sure that things will become a bit more polished as we go along. This is my first attempt. I am going to try to put my best product out there even on the first video, but I think that as we go along, I am going to take your comments and suggestions and others' comments and suggestions into consideration and try and hone my YouTube skills as we go along. For one, this room is a chaotic disaster. It's kind of a combination pet area, junk room, office area, and the forward of this is actually the sort of office area, and it's a bit more straight, but certainly the areas that you can see behind me are very, very chaotic. I will try and get that straightened up, make it a little more studio-like. I considered doing all that before I got started, but that's a lot of work. And I got all this fancy new equipment in, and I wanted to get started doing the YouTube thing. So bear with me for now, and we will get this room a little more straight. It's never going to be, Phil Basardo, Grim Green straight. I'm a more chaotic person than they are, obviously. So there are 3 things that I want to do in this video. I'd like to do this introduction that we're kind of doing now. I'd like to do a review of the Infinite CLT version 3 rebuildable dripping atomizer, and I'd like to do a short vlog. And as part of this introduction, I'd like to just kind of talk about why I decided to do these vids, to do this channel. I think I'll bring a unique perspective to the YouTube vaping community. I am a social worker by trade. I did college work in behavioral science and political science. I have a master's degree in political science from Indiana University. I did a lot of work in qualitative research. I think that with all that, I think I can bring a very critical, very analytical approach to looking at devices, liquids, etc., and looking at the qualitative user experience in those devices and such. I'll never be able to be as technical as a Phil Basardo. I just don't have the equipment or the training really to do that. But what I can do is tell you how these devices work in day-to-day life, their functionality, and their usability, and so on. And I'll try to be very, very thorough in that regard. I think I can bring a lot to the advocacy part of the conversation. My work in political science, I've always been very interested in government politics, and really since I was a kid. And now I'm super interested in how vaping fits in all that. I'm very interested in sort of being a voice to let the vaping community know what our governments are trying to do to us, to limit our right to vape, and what we can do to add our voice to the process, make the process better, and protect our vaping rights. I think advocacy tends to be a less popular part of these videos, I think, but it's incredibly, incredibly important, and I definitely want to be, add my voice to that part of the process. Finally, I'm just a big fan of vape videos. I know a lot of people say that there are too many channels these days. There are too many vape reviewers, people getting into it for the wrong reasons, etc. But for my money, there are never enough vape videos. I subscribe to probably 20 different channels, and I still run out of videos on a daily basis to watch. So I get home from work, I crack open my Diet Pepsi and sit down, and am invariably disappointed that I only have a couple of videos to watch. And so the more the merrier. The more vape videos, the merrier. So again, I hope to add my product to that lineup, and hopefully you'll enjoy it, and we can keep doing this. What will this channel be like? Other than my first video, which is really 3 parts, as we talked about, on a week-to-week basis, my videos are going to be 2 parts. One part will be a review of a product, and the second part will be a vlog. And my plan is to do 1 video per week to start off with on Tuesdays. I'm going to try to upload on Tuesdays, do my filming and editing over the weekend, and get the video up by Tuesday for you. And as we go along, and as I get more comfortable with the software and all that jazz, I will try to do my best to get at least 1 more review up per week, if not 2, as we go along. So I think down the line, eventually I might like to settle out at 3 videos per week and call it good there. Finally, and kind of I mentioned this before, I'm really interested in how I can make this channel better for the viewer. What sort of technical recommendations you have for me? What can we do to put the best product out there? So I invite you to put your comments in, all your constructive criticisms. Can't do anything about the size of my head. It's gigantic. We're just going to have to live with that. I can do a little bit about the chaos of my environment here, and I plan to, but really at the end of the day, I'm a pretty chaotic person, and my life's pretty chaotic, and I'm just not a neat, organized person, so we'll have to live with some of that. But otherwise, I'm very open to your suggestions, your criticisms, etc. With that, I'd like to go ahead and move on to the review for today, which will again be of the Infinite CLT version 3 rebuildable dripping atomizer. I will see you on that screen. Welcome back. We are here, once the camera focuses, to do a little review on the Infinite CLT rebuildable dripping atomizer. If I can get in focus and get this on the screen there. There she is. You can see I have the airflows almost completely cut off. If you want, the airflow can be very, very wide open on this. This is really definitely a cloud chasing atomizer, but with the airflow cut down significantly. It could be a flavor chaser as a atomizer as well. There are lots of different options for airflow, for the drip tip. you know, and we'll see all that in the up close. But thinking back to the version 2, the CLT version 2, I did enjoy that atomizer for a little while. The airflow was not super great. It was a little bit wonky. It had those plume veil style air holes cut into the side, into the base, to try and get airflow around the coils, from behind the coils, and it made the whole thing a little bit wacky. It felt kind of weird, kind of I wouldn't say too restrictive, just kind of odd. Otherwise it was a fairly decent atomizer. The flavor was a bit muted. I think a lot of it was due to the airflow design again. This one, in theory at least, is designed to fix some of the shortcomings of the version 2, I think. There are far more infinite sort of adjustments for the airflow. There are lots of different options for your drip tip slash drip top, you know, chuff style cap that's included with it, and some other things. So let's go ahead and get down and dirty with the Infinite CLT version 3 rebuildable dripping atomizer. Take a look at the unboxing and some up close shots, and then we'll come back on the front here. So let's open this up and take a look and see what we get inside the box. We get kind of the usual cast of characters. We get an Allen key in case you decide to use the grub screws that do come with the atomizer. It comes with gigantic Phillips head screws installed, but in this little baggie, which is kind of cheap and inconvenient, it comes with your it's not sealed like a Ziploc, it's just kind of open the top, so if you pick it up wrong, the screws will fall out and you'll never see them again. But it has your extra O-rings and those 3 grub screws inside of there. It also comes with this, which appears at first glance to be some kind of a tank, which might take you by surprise, but as we will see, it is actually a piece that you can use as a top cap or drip top for the atomizer. You also get one of these handy keyring screwdrivers that we're all familiar with, and I actually do have one of these on my keyring in case I gotta swap a battery out or something. Here is the kind of deceptive drip tip, which looks like it's wide bore, then you flip it around and it's not so wide bore, but it has a little Delrin base that screws into the atomizer itself. And here is the Infinite CLT version 3. And you know, it's not a bad looking little atomizer. Doing some twisted dropping of things there. It has kind of definitely some inspiration from the Mutation X, the air holes there, and it comes installed with this sort of chuff style drip cap, and you can swap that out with that glass. If I can open this little baggie, I have giant ape hands, so it's kind of a challenge sometimes to get in these tiny baggies. But you can see you can use this glass piece in case you want to slide that awkwardly over the this part. Ha! I've never used this before, and I'm just discovering that it does not fit. Little QT issue here. The glass is kind of warped there. It is supposed to slide right over this metal piece and over those O-rings, but it does not. I've never used it because I know that me and glass in my mouth and such is not a good idea, but again, a little quality control issue there. My glass sleeve for this particular top does not fit. So another option, you can see inside here there is a little Delrin piece, and you can simply just put your finger in there to unscrew it. And to be honest with you, I'm not 100% sure what purpose this one serves, other than to maybe insulate things a bit there. But you can use this. You can put this insulator in, which will reduce your top cap there, so that any of your 510 drip tips will work with it in this mode, including the 510 drip tip that came with it here. And it's again not a bad looking drip tip, not a bad looking setup with that all on there. I just sort of prefer the chuff style cap, and sort of the more open draw that you get there. I like the sort of weirdly, I like the airflow kind of shut down, and but I like the larger drip cap there. So we'll go ahead and take that. But this is definitely an option if you like the smaller drip tip style. I think it actually looks a little bit nicer with this setup. But we'll go ahead and go back to the way that I've been rocking it, which is with this massive chuff style plastic, and I suppose we'll put this insulator back in, although again I'm not sure what purpose that serves when you're using the larger drip top there. So there's that. So we end up with it looking sort of like this, having some real focus issues here up close, but yeah, we end up with it looking like this. Let's go ahead and head back up top and talk about it a little more. You can see a fair amount of vapor there. It, with wide open, this thing will put out clouds upon clouds upon clouds. I have it closed off, 7/8 of the way closed, and it still puts out very, very good vapor. It's built well, 304 stainless steel, all very heavy milled components, machined nicely. The threading's not bad. The airflow is very, very adjustable. You can see here, you can open that up to where all 3 air slots are open. You can close them off one at a time, as I've heard some other reviewers point out, though, you can't close one off without beginning to close, and you can kind of see there, you can't close the previous one off without beginning to close the other one off, or beginning to open, vice versa, like beginning to open without opening another slot. So you kind of end up with a little bit of overlap there, but there are plenty of airflow options. I don't think you'll be dissatisfied with the amount and quality of airflow options you have there. Like I said, I've been rocking it, 7/8 closed, and plenty of airflow for me. And just for reference, I normally I go on the troll atomizer about halfway closed. So this one has a bit more airflow, a bit more open whooshy airflow than compared to the troll. Both are definitely cloud chasers, and the troll completely open, the CLT completely open. Massive airflow on both of those. Let's talk about some negatives. First of all, you see these heatsink fins on the bottom and on the top, and these airflow holes. They are finger and hand shredders. Everywhere it seems like that you want to grab and turn and hold the atomizer in place. There's a razor sharp edge to cut your fingers open. And so you have to be very careful doing this. You almost have to use gloves, because at the very least mine, when I got it, as you can see, I took off, there were 2 O-rings on that top there. I took off one of them because it was so tight that just turning the airflow to adjust the airflow, I was cutting my fingers all to hell, and you don't even realize you're doing it until you look down and you see your fingers are all torn up, and so to me that's a major design flaw. For one, I'm not sure how much good these heat sinks do, especially the little heat sink at the top there. It's one single fin, then a couple of fins at the bottom. I think they're largely cosmetic, and I think that the sharpness of them could have definitely been sanded off a bit if they wanted to, and again, for my money, they could have been completely removed and no harm would have been done to the atomizer. The airflow holes, again, right where you want to grab there to turn your airflow, to hold it while you turn your airflow, those are also very sharp, and both of them can get you, can cut you pretty good there. So something to take note of. And an even bigger problem that I ran into, that to some degree is still plaguing me a bit with this atomizer, is the flavor. And specifically, not just, okay, one problem is that it's a large barrel. It does not have a reduced chamber at all. It's just very open. And the flavor is very muted. And you can say, Chris, that this is a cloud chasing atomizer. It's not a flavor chasing atomizer. So why even complain about that? And I wouldn't, except that I think the flavor is actually worse than the version 2. And it's worse in 2 ways. I think it's more muted than the first version, and or the second version. I never tried CLT version 1. Full disclosure there, I did try the version 2, but I'm not going to go back in time and do a full review on that one. But another problem with the flavor is the lingering machine oil taste. And I cleaned this thing very, very thoroughly. The first time when I first got the atomizer, and the way I clean my atomizers, I have an ultrasonic jewelry cleaner with grain alcohol on it, and I put it in there, for 5 minutes on the clean cycle, and then I put it on the rinse cycle for 5 minutes, and I did that. Built my atomizer, put my coils and everything. I've currently got this on a 0.3 ohm. It's actually saying 0.4 right now, but that's one of the quirks of the CLT, I think. But it's been in a 0.3 ohm. I've also had a 0.2 ohm in there, but with Japanese organic cotton, and used a variety of different juices, put several different builds in there, and I've cleaned it in the jewelry cleaner several times, and there is still to this day a little bit of machine oil taste. Now it's gotten gradually better, and I think maybe after the 5th, 6th, 7th cleaning it may start to completely go away, but that is just a lot of machine oil, folks. I've never ever had that problem with an atomizer before, that the machine oil is so thick and so sort of in every nook and cranny of the device that the jewelry cleaner didn't take care of it. And I can only assume it's machine oil. It tastes very petroleum-like. It could be also insulator taste, but I think that if it were the insulator, it would actually be getting worse instead of better with the additional use in cleanings. And for that reason, it's just not been an atomizer that I've been super excited to use. It's not been an atomizer that I've gone back to, I've wanted to go back to, and it's a shame because it's otherwise a very solid little device. But those two big sort of negatives there, the design flaws and the finger shredding capabilities of this atomizer, as well as the you can see the chinchilla. She's running around back in the corner there, but that's going to be something that we just this is her room, so we're going to have to just roll with the punches there. But those two big negatives are tough to get past with this atomizer: the machine oil and the design flaws, and the finger shredding character of this atomizer. The machine oil I can understand. I have not heard other reviewers complain about that, so I'm thinking that is specific to my atomizer, and probably just didn't get cleaned very thoroughly at the factory. Sorry about the monitor going off there, but certainly I've heard others complain about the sharpness of the edges and things, and that's certainly a big design flaw. I could get past I could learn to deal with the sharp edges, which I think would get a little bit better over time if it weren't for that lingering machine oil flavor that I may be able to fix eventually. I'm gonna keep. I'm not one to give up. I'm gonna keep trying, keep cleaning, and see where it goes. I may update the video down the line and let you know how things are going with this here CLT. But it hasn't become for those reasons, it hasn't become one of my daily use atomizers, and it's a very, very cheap atomizer. Let's just check on. I know what I paid. I paid $41 for it at the Vape in the Fort event in Fort Wayne. However, you can get it at eCiggity. Let's see here. Sorry, I should have had this screen up already, but I want to give you let you know how much this baby cost. I thought it was available at eCiggity. It is not. Let's see here. Let's see where it is available. CLT V3 RDA. It is definitely available at Element Vape, elementvape.com, and you will pay $33.95 plus shipping. So excellent deal. To just reiterate the positives here, excellent deal, excellent build quality, adjustable airflow to the max, multiple drip tip combinations there, and if it didn't cut your hands to shreds, and it didn't have a very, very persistent machine oil taste, I would give it a very glowing review, because I think in philosophy this atomizer is definitely in the direction that I'd like to see more atomizers go. That is authentics, be they made in China or wherever, authentics that have a reasonable price tag on them, that are well built. But machine oil and design quality, those are things that I hope when we inevitably get to the CLT version 4, we end up with something that doesn't cut your hands up, and I hope that I am lucky enough to get one that's not drenched in machine oil. So that about wraps it up for the review of the Infinite CLT version 3 rebuildable dripping atomizer. I will call it good on the review here, and I will see you in the vlog. Thanks. Welcome to my first vape vlog here. It is Tuesday, March 24th, 2015. Got a few things to talk about, some advocacy. The Vape in the Fort event that I attended a couple weeks ago here in the great state of Indiana, in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Let's start with what I'm vaping on. I've got the Hexome version 2 here. It's a hard to see on the video, but it's a nice hammered bronze Hammond box with a green button. I've got the sub tank with Animal Looper 6 milligram in there. It's quite lovely. And I am dripping on the Sigelli 100 watt plus with the Troll. There's the little Troll meme. This is an earlier version of the Troll. I know the newer ones have vertical air slots. Mine still has the horizontal. It's one of the older versions. And I am dripping Namber Juice's Epic Clouds Mom's Pineapple Cake, 6 milligrams. One of my favorite juices for quite a while. Sometimes I'll like a juice for a while, and then it'll kind of wear thin after a while. But the Mom's Pineapple Cake has had some staying power. So hats off to Namber Juice and Mr. Nick Green. and Amber, of course. So let's start off with some happier news. My wife and I went to the Vape in the Fort event in Fort Wayne, Indiana, a couple weeks ago now, and it was an impressive showing of by Indiana Vapors. The event itself, very small. I don't think that they had planned to have nearly as many people. And I have no exact head count or anything. My understanding from watching Phil's video was that about 500 people or so left because of the length of the line to get in. And so it would have been even larger without those folks leaving. But, just from what I saw with my own eyes, I would have estimated that it was well over 1,000 people were there in the time frame that we were, and probably much more than that overall. So for our first event in Indiana, not bad. I think certainly it could have been done better had they anticipated the crowds that were there. As I said, when we arrived, and I think the event opened the doors around 10 a.m. I believe, and we got there roughly 11:30ish. We're driving from Richmond to Fort Wayne. It was like when we got there, the line to get in to the event, if you had your tickets already, was over an hour, and the line to get in to buy tickets, which we needed to buy tickets because I don't plan ahead, was over 3 hours. And so and you couldn't vape while you were in the line. You could only vape in the ballroom where the event was being held. You couldn't vape in the hallways. So the prospects of spending 3 hours in a line and not being able to vape were well beyond what my constitution could handle. So we left for a little while, always intending to come back. I just wanted to let the line die down a bit. So we went and visited some of the great places in the great good city of Fort Wayne, Indiana. Had lunch, had a nice little lunch at a nice little Indian restaurant, and did some shopping, and came back to the event. Got right in, no problems at all. Got in. The event hall the ballroom was still very, very crowded. I think that it was impressive, for what it was. There were not, compared to other national, sort of events, other large events, there were not a lot of vendors there. The vendors that were there were very well prepared, had lots of product on hand. There was lots of cool things to see and do in the event hall there. The vaping militia had a presence, which was nice to see. They were getting folks signed up, and they and Mr. Phil Basardo did some educational classes there, which we didn't get to attend. But the whole thing was, I think, a very good showing, is the way that I would describe it for the vapors in the state of Indiana. They're already talking about, kind of the next time, and what to do. on the next event. They're definitely talking about a larger venue, more vendors, etc. Sort of correcting the problems of that event. But problems notwithstanding, I would certainly go back and certainly do it again. So nice event, nice thing for the state of Indiana. I would like to see an event in the city of Indianapolis, certainly, and regionally speaking, maybe in Indy, Cincinnati, and maybe Dayton. But I know that there are some politics involved there. I think the city of Indianapolis has not had a good relationship with vaping, and apparently they don't want the massive amounts of money that come into the city when they have one of these vaping events. It boggles the mind, but they should really, Indianapolis city officials and Indianapolis politicians should have a word with the folks up in Fort Wayne and look at the revenue that event brought in, and think about an event the size and scale of which Indianapolis could attract, the kind of money that would raise for the city of Indianapolis, and weigh that against what you really have against vaping. So that's a nice segue into sort of the advocacy portion of this, and I won't always do this. I want to sort of put out information that's for the widest sort of net to update people on advocacy issues nationwide. But I want to start with again the state of Indiana, a call to action that CASA has put up on some votes that are scheduled for this week. In fact, I'm hoping that they don't happen prior to this video being uploaded. And in fact, I may rush this video and get it uploaded on Monday instead of Tuesday. I've been saying all along that I would probably get this, that I would do videos on Tuesdays, but if I get it done and edited in the can, so to speak, by Monday, I may go ahead and upload it because I wanna get this information out before the bills go to the floor. So the CASA call to action for Indiana. Indiana call to action: multiple Indiana bills would threaten access to and use of e-cigarettes. House Bill 1432, the same as Senate Bill 539, is moving toward a vote on the floor next week, and both bills are still written to gut the vapor industry in Indiana. To complicate matters, some lobbyists that are pushing these bills are attempting to convince legislators that they have compromised with both consumers and the Indiana e-liquid industry. This is not true. Although CASA continues to be opposed to these bills and is calling for them to be rejected, we are aware that Hoosier Vapors has presented some amendments, which you can view here. You can view on the CASA website under the Indiana Calls to Action. If you support these amendments offered by Hoosier Vapors, you can mention that you are supportive of them during your call. Please take a moment to call your senator and representatives and let them know that they should not support either of these bills. Oppose Senate Bill 539 and House Bill 1432. So important stuff happening here in the Hoosier State, and again, these crazy legislators are talking about essentially gutting the e-cigarette industry in Indiana, and that would be a crying shame. It would be a shame for the businesses. Folks would be put out of jobs. It would be a shame for the cause of harm reduction. I think that we're all committed to. It would be a shame for general loss of revenue. It would be a shame all around. So get on the IN.gov website, figure out who your representative, who your senator is, and give them a call, email them. At this point, snail mail probably isn't an option, but get on the stick, get a hold of these folks, and let's get something done. Let's stop these bills here in Indiana. I'm going to be emailing my representatives and senators here this Sunday, and try to get something done, because the more we can do. Hoosier Vapors has been awesome. They're an organization here in Indiana. They've been awesome. They had a rally at the State House, and they've done various things. They've offered amendments and so on to the legislation. But what we're hoping for, obviously, we're hoping for outright defeat of these bills, and that's certainly what CASA is hoping for. You'll find links to Hoosier Vapors and CASA in the video, and you'll see at the end of every one of my videos, you'll see the CASA address. So let's take a look at some other things that are happening nationwide with CASA. We've got stuff happening in Texas, 4 bills that would limit adult access to vapor products. The big Indiana call to action that we talked about. In Vermont, take action to oppose the attempt to limit adult access to e-cigarette. Arkansas, take action to prohibit vaping where smoking is banned. I'm seeing that as a major trend here. In these call to actions, which I took a look at earlier, there are multiple bills in multiple states that are lumping vaping in with smoking. They're trying to ban the use of e-cigarettes where smoking is banned. And that might seem sort of reasonable on the face of it. And like that, you don't go into Walmart and pull out your sub tank or your Atlantis and blow giant clouds. You don't have your dripping set up at a Starbucks or Applebee's and blow giant clouds in the middle of the restaurant. That, if you do that, stop. But hopefully we all have enough sense not to do things like that. And whether or not it's secondhand vapor, I personally don't think that it's harmful. I think that the visibility of it just looks bad for vapors. It antagonizes non-smokers and other folks who want to bury us. And so the less we push the envelope in terms of vaping in crowded public areas, the better. But this idea of treating electronic cigarettes and vaping like tobacco is just a bad road to go down. It sets a bad precedent, and it's gonna be a very slippery slope for lawmakers to go down this road. Well, we banned them on the basis of them being like tobacco cigarettes. Now we can tax them on the basis of them being like tobacco. They're essentially tobacco. They're one and the same. That is the direction that lawmakers are going with this. They're laying the groundwork to do more stuff later. So it's important to oppose these actions, not to protect our right to blow clouds at Applebee's. It's important to oppose these things to get the language right in the final bill. electronic cigarettes and vaping should be treated as separate from traditional tobacco smoking. They should be treated as their own entity, and any taxes or regulations should take into account things like harm reduction, the current real science that has been done that shows how much less harmful vaping is than traditional tobacco cigarettes. All those things should be taken into account. So as we move forward, and again, there are multiple bills. Another one to take note of is this Pennsylvania Governor Tom Wolf has proposed this unjustifiable 40% wholesale tax on vapor. And I'll tell you, I'm enjoying a wild cherry Pepsi, by the way, in a Coca-Cola glass. Take that, corporate America. 40% at this point, it's unreasonable, but it's not 90%. And I'm not saying I support the bill. I totally oppose the bill in Pennsylvania, and it's ridiculous too. A 40% wholesale tax on vapor products would be devastating. Other states have proposed 90% taxes, and they've been defeated. So I hope that in Pennsylvania, this isn't seen as, 40% is a reasonable alternative, because it's not. When we start getting real and getting into something like a 10%, I don't even want to put a number on it, but a 15% tax, let's say double what most state sales taxes are. Then we start to get into territory that personally, and this is my personal viewpoint, would be slightly more reasonable. Now, other folks are going to have a variety of opinions, but 40% is still very high. Get your calculators out. If a bottle of e-liquid, for example, cost $10, a 40% tax, that e-liquid is now going to cost $14. If it costs $20, it's now going to cost $28. I think I've done the math correctly there, but I did it in my head, and I'm no math genius, but that's what we're looking at. We're looking at a significant increase in the cost, and this is a Hail Mary by some of these governors to figure out budget shortfalls that have been caused by a lot of folks leaving traditional tobacco cigarettes and the high taxes that are generated on those, leaving that whole scene behind and starting something more healthy with that reduces the harm inherent in traditional tobacco use. So it really is just kind of a desperate attempt to replace tax revenues, to generate new tax revenues for the ever increasing state budgets, it's important, again, to oppose this legislation early and often, because as these states start to do these things and set precedents, other states are just going to follow. They're going to jump on the bandwagon. They're going to tax, and it'll be a race to see who can tax these products the most. So check out the links that I've added to this video. Especially check out CASA, CASAA.org, CASA.org for individual cost action. Get on your state page, get your senators and representatives handy at the state level, and as we move forward at the federal level as well. but definitely at the state level for these threatening state bills that are coming up, and especially in Indiana. I'm gonna get on. I know that our one representative is Dick Ham and Tom Saunders, but I'm gonna get on and get a full list of some of the folks that represent the Richmond area, and I'm going to drop them a line. So I think we'll go ahead and wrap up the vlog there for now. Just wanted to throw a quick vlog on this kind of mishmash of different things video. I have my introduction and a review in there. This is kind of an unusual week. Next week we will move into the review plus vlog format, have a little bit longer vlog, and go from there. But again, vapors of the world, unite, and let's protect our vaping rights, and let's all have a good week. I'll see you next week. Thanks for viewing.